Have you ever walked into a store and seen two different prices on a product? Customers are often shown a maximum retail price that is struck out and is replaced with a discounted or sale price on a product. Does this actually affect consumers' likelihood of purchasing the product?
There is a lot of research which has shown that this practice, known as reference pricing, increases the likelihood of purchase because consumers have this perception that they're getting a good deal.
Now, the question that arises is, what happens to the purchase likelihood when consumers have the option to negotiate with the retailer? And how does the presence of reference prices affect the price consumers pay? A study pulled data from a large durable goods manufacturer in the US, where the retailer shows two different prices on all its products. The purpose is to understand the correlation between the prices consumers pay and the reference prices displayed to them.
Utilizing this data, I show that there is a positive correlation between the prices consumers pay and the reference price. Put differently, when the reference price is higher, all else equal, people pay a higher price because they're less likely to negotiate. This is likely true because consumers perceive that they're getting a very good deal, and because they're getting the deal, they don't negotiate as hard.
It's widely known that as prices go up, the purchase likelihood goes down. In this data set, we only observe consumers who purchased, so we cannot say anything about the consumers who did not purchase because they felt the price was too high. Understanding this would require data on both purchasers and non-purchasers.
To get this data, we ran a lab experiment where subjects came into the lab and they negotiated with sellers on the prices of different products. In this lab setting, we had ability to exogenously vary the reference prices, which creates random variation across different subjects. Doing so allows us to establish the causal impact of reference prices on both purchase likelihood as well as negotiated prices.
Through this experiment, they found results similar to that of the field data, wherein as reference price went up, the price that consumers paid increased as well. In data terms, for every $1 increase in reference price, the negotiated discount is lowered by 5.7 cents. 55% of this reduction was because of a lower likelihood of initiating a negotiation, and the remaining because of consumers not negotiating a big enough discount. Consumers were not only less likely to initiate a negotiation, but even those consumers who negotiated paid a higher price conditional on negotiating. So does the purchase likelihood go down as the negotiated price increases?
When prices are negotiated, reference price not only increase prices, but they also increase the purchase likelihood. As a retailer then, I benefit not only because consumers are paying a higher price, I also benefit because more consumers are purchasing. This is almost like a double whammy where the retailer benefits on two dimensions.
The higher benefit from having a reference price under bargaining implies that the retailer has an incentive to exaggerate the reference prices. Does this mean that we will see a higher reference price for products which are negotiated upon as compared to products which are not negotiated upon?
The prices or reference prices under negotiations, when prices are negotiated upon, is not going to be any different than in a situation when prices are not negotiated. What will be different is that because the retailer has a bigger benefit from these prices under bargaining or negotiations, the retailer will be more likely to set these prices. So we should see more of these reference prices being set when consumers can negotiate upon prices.
Several regulatory authorities such as the Competition Commission of India and the Federal Trade Commission in the US monitor reference prices because of the possible deception involved. What are the regulatory implications of these findings?
From a regulatory standpoint, regardless of whether prices can be negotiated or not, the advertised reference prices should be similar. So the retailer's incentives to set these exorbitantly high reference prices are not any different under bargaining than under fixed pricing.
This data can be generalized beyond the US population, but future studies require quantifying the actual impact of reference prices on various groups of people, such as those in third world countries, women versus men, older versus younger populations, and more.
In the paper, I just focus on a regular price and a discounted price. Instead, these could be framed as a discount, as a percentage discount, and so on. There is a rich literature which studies how framing prices and framing different discounts impacts consumers' likelihood to purchase. So it would be interesting to understand how framing of reference prices impact negotiated prices and purchase likelihood when consumers can bargain over prices.